Oh, good morning. Good morning. Um, my philosophical inspiration today was the different levels of mine, and really was based on my looking out in the world and thinking about wisdom and what constitutes awareness and knowledge and information that we're able to access and utilize. And so, in the yogic conceptual world, you don't just have one mind. Your mind is made up of three different parts, and they're broadly your ahamkara, which means your ego self, the personality that you walk around with, your way of interfacing with the world, um, your uh, your desire for things, right? And not just that, like that undercurrent that feeds your passion, but that, like, I want chickens, right? That's ahamkara. And it's not a bad thing, right? It's important for us to navigate situations. But if we just had that, we can get misled. We can get off the path. We can take information that's not real and accept it as real. And then the second level is your buddhi. And your buddhi is your ability to discern, to figure out what's good information and what's poor information, to be able to tell whether something is a wacky conspiracy theory or whether it has basis in truth and maybe science. So that's discernment, buddhi. And then finally, we get to the level of chit, which is your interface with the bigger and greater whole. So if your ahamkara is that little inner voice that's just constantly talking to you, telling you things, your deep wisdom, like the underlying awareness and consciousness, is your chit. And so I really want a t-shirt that says chit happens, right? Just because I think that's funny and have for years. So that's levels of mind, and we're going to be playing with trying to get more of our wisdom self to come on board, at least to the level of buddhi, if not chit. So all of the things that we're doing are with that intention in mind. And they're also a little bit inspired by my missing going to the gym. So there you go, two things. So you can either be on your backs to start or sitting up like I am. And then find a seat that you can sustain for just a moment more. Or again, lie on your back and let your eyes be heavy or closed. And then notice the relative ease or lack thereof in your breath. So where do you feel things this morning? And what is it that you feel? So you can notice a lightness or a heaviness, parts of your body that feel fully awake, and parts that may still feel dull. If you're sitting upright, is it possible to bring more extension, more length into your spinal column so that your head rests above this nice elongated vertebral stack? And then with every breath, find a little ease at the tops of your shoulders, a little softness. Place your palms in towards one another. And I'll sing Om to you, so you can join in with me, or you're welcome to just sing it in your head. Inhale your breath in. Your hands settle down, your eyes open, and then everybody gets to come into their backs. Move my tea. I've already kicked like 2 cups over this week. So I'm going to place a blanket underneath my head. If you've got something to put underneath your head, you can do likewise. And then we get to start on our backs. My favorite way of starting these days. So lying down, plant your feet. There are lots of variations of this initial pose, constructive rest. So you can walk your feet a little bit forward. You might walk your feet wide and let your knees rock in, Or you might even roll your knees out into external rotation. And we'll just breathe here for a moment and notice if it's different. So I do want your knees bent, but again, they can be in any position that feels right. And that is that discernment. What feels right in your body? Is there a sense of something being disturbed, of being um, easeful or challenging? And then bring your knees back to center if you let them roll one way or the other. Walk your feet back if you walked them forward. Lift your right foot off of the mat and we'll take knee circles. So this is a joint freeing movement here. That's its intention. And I'm just circling my thigh bone. Now the rest of my body works to stay still. I'm always kind of fascinated, could go in the opposite direction. But when I look at these videos and I notice that my body is rocking, even though my internal perception is that I'm holding relatively still. So my outer form and inner experience are different. Good. Now squeeze your right thigh, right knee in as close as you can to your torso. And your right knee might be a little bit out to the right. Again, your body might accommodate in that particular way, and that's excellent. Good. Extend your right leg out long. Keep your left knee bent. Your foot may rest down on your mat. And then just press your right heel down super strongly, and you'll feel the back of your leg muscles, they fire. So especially your glutes, your hamstrings, even your calf muscle might get a little bit excited as you root your right heel down. Good. One or two more breaths here, cultivating that strong action in your right leg. And then replace your right foot and notice the difference right and left. So that's an interoceptive moment. I'm all about interoception these days. How do I notice what's going on? And can I give words to the inner feeling? And then we'll do the same work on the left side so we're relatively balanced. Pick up your left foot and then just take your knee in circles. So you're noticing how stable you can keep your midsection. So both hips still face up to the ceiling. As you move your left leg around and around, thigh bone moving in the hip joint. And then go in the opposite direction, circling around in the other way. So the more you move your joints, the more they move. It's just one of those basic principles. Good. Pause in the middle and hug your knee in. And there's a wisdom in that. Sometimes we forget, and when something feels like it's not moving, we move it less. And I think that's a normal thing to do, but it might be the opposite of what that joint really needs. Good. And then extend your leg out long. So now my left leg extended, right knee is bent, and press your heel down into the mat. And of course, you don't want to do that so hard that your heel hurts. That would be silly, but you're doing it strongly enough that there's activation on the whole back of your left leg through the muscular tissue. Good. Breathe while you're here. Essential. And then release that. Place your foot back down on your mat. Find a good position where it feels like your legs can hold themselves with your knees bent. And take your arms out in a T. So palms face up towards the ceiling at first. Good. Find an even position through your pelvis. Lengthen your whole head out of your shoulders. And then go ahead and rotate your thumbs down towards the floor, and you're in internal rotation now. So your shoulders may lift away from the floor. That would be normal, but there's a softness at the tops of your shoulders. So you don't want your traps to get too excited. And then go in the other way. Externally rotate. So now your thumbs are going to roll towards the other way and your elbows may lift. Your shoulder blades will come closer to the mat or maybe even rest. Good, and we'll do that again. Roll forwards so that your shoulders lift up and forward. Soften through the back of your neck. If your rib cage is up towards the ceiling, drop your ribs down, let your sacrum be heavy. And then go in the opposite direction, externally rotate. So now my pinky is up high into the air. My elbows are lifted. My shoulder blades press down. Good, last time. Rolling forward with your arms, forward meaning towards your toes, towards the top edge of your mat. And then roll your arms back, elbows lift, thumbs are down on the mat, shoulder blades roll back, ribs are soft. Good, release your arms. They might actually be tired just from that internal and external rotation. And one more thing here, you're gonna reach your arms up to the ceiling. Pretend like you have a block between your hands. I won't make you do that right now. And then go ahead and lift your arms up as high as they'll go. So if your thumbs rest on the mat, that's great. If they don't, that's fine too. And then bend your elbows. Hands go to either side of your head, like parallel to the floor near your ears. And then keep your rib cage soft again and bring your elbows as close to the mat as you can. Maybe they rest down, maybe they don't. Your torso stays the same, your elbows press. And then re-extend your arms back up and overhead. And then take your arms down at your sides. Okay, straighten your right leg and lift your left arm and take your right hand palm down onto the mat. So your left fingertips reach up to the ceiling. My right palm is pressed down into the floor. And I'm gonna do a tiny baby roll up here. So I press down with my right hand and lift my head and my heart. If that bothers your neck, instead of reaching your hand, place your hand behind your head. And then roll back down to the floor. And we're gonna do that side again. So I'm gonna roll up, keeping my left arm up. I'm peeking at my toes. Press down with your right hand and then roll back down. Last time on that side. Press down with your right hand. Lift your torso part way up. Reach for your toes and roll back down. I know that might have looked like sit-ups, but they're done with yogic intention. Switch sides. Bend your right knee. Extend your left. Reach your right arm up and overhead. Your left arm is out to the side, anchoring you into the floor. So you're using that left arm. And then go ahead and reach up. And you're pressing your hand down. So you lift up as high as you can. And then roll your way back down. 2 more times. Roll up using your hand. Curl your shoulder blades off the floor. Reach for your toes. Roll back down. Last time, press into the floor through your left hand, left heel, and then roll back down. Bend both knees, breathe into your belly, pause, notice, and reflect. So what in that action felt wise, and maybe what felt foolish? I'm always curious about movements like that because they can be really awkward or they're not. And then roll to your side and sit yourself back upright. Okay, so extend your legs out and forwards. It's feet and toes time. So you might need a block underneath your thigh bone. Go ahead and cross your right leg over your left. So it's typical feet and toes, nothing fancy today. Weave your left fingers through your right toes. I'm mirroring this one. I don't always mirror these days, but for this one I am. Years. And then just roll through your foot, forward and back. That lovely wave-like action that moves the bones in our feet. Good. Just a couple more waves here. And then spread fingers and toes wide. Slide your fingers out from your toes. Release your toes. Excellent. Go ahead and point your foot. Toes curl towards your left hip. And then pull your toes back as if you could touch your own shin bone. And then do it again. Point and flex. Release the point and flex action. Massage your foot. So go ahead and palpate the tissue, meaning rub, and notice, are there achy spots? Does it all feel good? Or do you notice sensation? All right, getting ready. We're not quite at sandal weather up here yet, but you might be. But getting ready for sandals. Oh, and don't make me do my flip-flop talk either. Nobody breathes when they're wearing flip-flops. And then pat your foot out. Excellent. And then just go ahead and extend your leg out and forward. And maybe your foot looks bright or shiny or warmer. It's the tone of your skin is different. Maybe your toes spread, all good things. Let's cross over into the second side. Fingers, toes, make it to meet. You slide through. You roll through your foot, forward and back, forward and back. So it's not going to hurt you to roll in circles, but that's probably an easier action than this rolling and gliding forward and back. And I'm more interested in the point and flex, just because those are like your ankles are probably taking the movement, even if your feet can't do it. So that always interests me. What isn't moving? And then spread fingers wide, toes wide, slide out, and just release. Good. Go ahead and point your foot. So I'm pulling my toes towards my heel. Pull your toes back and try and touch your shin. And then point again. Plantar flexion. And then you pull back, dorsiflexion. Hold for a moment here, breathing, toes pulling towards your own shin bone. Excuse me. And then release. Go ahead and massage. Just mush the tissue. I know it doesn't have to be anything fancy, but as you rub your foot with your hands, you connect your brain, right? Whatever we touch wakes up. And that's part of this class, is getting your brain on board with your body. And so as you touch, you're able to move your foot in different ways just because of the neural connections. Good. And then pat it out and extend. Fantastic. Lean back, bend your knees, plant your feet. Maybe you hold on, maybe you keep your hands back behind you, doesn't really matter. Lift and spread your toes, all 10 of them up in the air. Release your toes back down. Lift your big toe. Put your big toe back down. Push your big toe down into the earth like you're pressing a button. I know I keep saying, I don't know why we're pressing a button with our toes, but we're pressing a button. Release. Lift up your toes again. Maybe your feet are cramping. That's okay. Go ahead, set your toes back down. Lift your pinky toe. Pretend to lift your pinky toe. Good. Release your pinky toe. Lift up all 10 toes into the air. Put your big toe down. Pick your big toe up. Big toe down. Big toe up. Big toe down. Big toe up. Little toes down. Big toe up. Good. Lift your little toes. Put your little toes down. Do it again like you're flapping your little toes. Little toes up, little toes down, little toes up, little toes down. All 10 toes up. Release the work in your feet. Good. And then go ahead and stretch your feet out and forward back to that danda, that staff pose. And now we're going to do that point and flexion here without our hands. So just like you could roll and make a wave with your hand, roll and make a wave with your foot. So I'm moving my foot towards a point, articulating through the bones, and then pulling back in a flex. I'm going to do it again. Rolling through your foot in a point, and maybe your feet move like solid slabs. This one took me a time. All right, roll through your foot, roll back. Good, one more time. Roll through your foot, roll back. Excellent. Swivel your feet like they could face each other and look at the bottoms of your feet could look at each other. And then do the opposite. Turn your feet so that the tops of your feet could look at each other, like maybe. And then do it again. Feet roll in, feet roll out, feet roll in, feet roll out. Excellent. Just circle your ankles now without your hands. Again, roll one way, roll the other way. And then come take a seat on your mat. I'm going to sit in cross legs again. You're welcome to sit any way that you can sustain. So maybe extending your legs, perhaps slipping your legs back behind. Lots of options. All right, so just like we did when we were lying down, reach your arms out wide. So I'm starting with my palms facing up towards the ceiling. This is external rotation. Yeah, adjust if you have someone else there with you. And then go ahead and rotate the other way. So my palms turn down and back behind me. The head of my arm bones roll a little bit forward. Good. Press your head up towards the ceiling. And then do the opposite. Roll all the way up. And you're exploring range of motion here. So notice how much movement you have right now doing this. And then do it again. Roll down. Notice also that this is a fair amount of work for your arm muscles and the muscles on your back. Good. Roll your arms up and roll your arms back down. Excellent. Release your arms down at your sides. Take a shoulder roll. Just go around in circles. Go the other way. And then again, waking up that brain, you're going to roll your left shoulder back and your right shoulder forward at the same time. And then switch. This is my favorite part to watch on Zoom. Good, release. I know everyone's like, I have no idea what you just did. No worries. What I also love is when I tell you to roll your shoulders in opposite ways and everyone does the little shimmy. It's like you're dancing. It's great. This is good too. Okay, neck circles. Sitting tall, go ahead and let your head release towards your left ear releases towards left shoulder. And then swing your head down so you're looking at your own belly. And then come across to the other ear. And then just like you're going up and over, lift your head up and over and back down to the left. And then one more time, roll forwards, ear to shoulder, lift up and over, and release. Go the opposite direction. Lift, open over to your right shoulder, down to the floor, back to the left, up and over. Good. One more big head circle here. Good. And come back to center. I like listening to all the little crunchy sounds in my neck. They seem so loud that I sometimes worry that you might hear them too. Okay, reach your arms out and forward. Good. And imagine you have your hands are paintbrushes and you're just going to paint the walls with your fingers and your wrists. This is great if you have lots of wrist pain when we do lots of hands and knees work. More of this kind of articulation through your wrist bones could be helpful. Good. And then make soft fists. And just like we did with our feet, turn your knuckles to look at one another and then have your knuckles look away. And then knuckles look in and knuckles look away. And last time, knuckles look in, knuckles look away. And then circle your gentle fists, meaning you're not trying to put indentations with your nails on your skin. That would be a hard fist. Good. Go the opposite direction if you haven't already. And then release that. And we'll come into hands and knees. So a blanket underneath knees. Lovely if you have hardwood floors. I have carpeting, so I'm okay without extra cushion, but use what you got to use. All righty. And then once again, just like we did when we were on our backs, we're going to do some knee circles. So my knees are right underneath or just back behind my hips. My hands are underneath my shoulders. Lift your right knee and draw a circle on your mat with your knee. Go in one direction, and just like when we were on our backs, see if you can keep your belly in the same position. and then go in the opposite direction. Circle your knee round and round. Good. Pause, take your leg back behind you, and then internally rotate your leg. So my right knee points to the left, and my right heel points to the right. There we go. Right knee to the left, right heel to the right. Good. Just take a breath in that neutral position and set your knee down. All right, come off of your hands. So I'm just gonna walk my hands forward and take the weight onto my legs, and I'm up on the fingertips of both my right and left hand, just for a moment to take the pressure off of my wrists. And then walk back and go ahead and do the same thing here. So you're gonna lift your, that would be my left knee, and circle around, go one way. Belly stays as even as you can, knowing that there's some rocking, and then go to the other side. So in order to limit the rocking, you pull your right hip towards the midline, towards the middle. Then take your leg just back behind you a little bit higher, so in leg extension, and you internally rotate. So now my left knee goes to the right, and my left heel goes to the left. I know, now you have to know right and left. Good, come back through the middle, take a breath, and then place your knee back down. And then once again, weight off of your hand. So I'm sitting back a little bit, tenting my fingers. I sometimes call this cupcake hands because you don't want to crush the frosting on the cupcakes underneath your hands. I know, goofy. All my metaphors are food related and my imagery. Okay, back to center, hands and knees. Reposition your hands and knees so that they're placed in a comfortable yet open position. And then we're gonna walk hands and knees. So I lift my right knee and my left hand. So I'm doing opposite. And if you're on the other one as me, it doesn't really matter. And then set your hand down and do the same thing second side. So lift your knee, lift your hand, and go back down. And now go back and forth like you're crawling, but you're staying in the same place. Use your fingertips to press into the mat when you land. Land lightly on your hand and knee, and you're just working this crawling action. It's surprisingly challenging. Good, release that. We're gonna stand up. So you have the option of just standing up, or you can come with me and do downward facing dog pose. Hips lean back, toes turn under. Pick up your knees, extend your leg any amount. Pause here in Adho Mukha Svanasana if you're going with me. If you stood up, come into forward fold for a second. Take a breath. And then we'll meet you in the forward fold by walking our hands quickly back to our feet. Knees can be a little bit bent. Take a breath in. Exhale, soften and release neck tension. Strengthen your leg muscles by holding them close to the bones and come all the way back upright. Good. Float your arms up. You're at the back of your mat. Reach your fingertips to the sky. And then exhale. Settle your hands back to heart center and come to the top of your mat. All righty. So we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of work through our arms, just like we did when we were on the ground again and even sitting up. So I'm going to turn and face you so you can see. My arms are out wide again, so space yourselves accordingly. Don't knock over lamps or furniture. And then internally rotate, just like you did sitting, and externally rotate. Good. Internally rotate, thumbs down and back. Externally rotate. Last time. Internal rotation, external rotation. Keep the external rotation and bring your arms up and overhead. Good. Stay externally rotated and bend your elbows without weaving them behind your back. See, I'm just holding right back behind my neck. Maybe your hands come behind your head. That is fine. Take a breath here, hugging your elbows in. Lift your elbows up towards the ceiling, but bring your ribs down. And then release your arms. Let them go. Excellent. Grab those blocks or whatever you have, Amazon Prime boxes, water bottles, what else? Board games, right? Just like my husband. Spread your toes. Take a nice deep breath in, stretch up and lengthen. And then exhale, bend forward from your hips. Take your hands down to your support. Good, keep your spine long here. And then go ahead and step your right leg back. There we go, lunge pose. So I'm using my blocks that are on either side of my left foot. Back leg is straight-ish, front knee is bent. Extend and lengthen your vertebra out long. Keep that length and unbend your left knee, meaning straighten it any amount. So maybe it's straight, maybe it still has a little bend in it, and then rebend your front knee. And do that again. On your inhalation, extend, spine stays long. Exhale, bend your knee. Last time, inhale to lengthen. Exhale, bend. Pause here. Good, use the muscles in your back leg. So I'm gonna push off with my back foot and come forward, back into forward fold. Again, spine stays long the whole time for this particular variation. Good, a little softness in your knees might make that more possible. And then bring your left leg back behind you for that lifted off the ground lunge. We're in the same work here. So go ahead and extend through your front leg any amount, legs are strong. Rebend your knee. Repeat that. Inhale and extend. Exhale and bend. And inhale, extend. Exhale and bend. Stay here, spine keeps lengthening out. So I'm pulling belly away from hips, sternum away from belly, neck even lengthens out towards the wall in front of you. And then use that back foot to step forward. Stay in your forward fold. So if your back bothers you in this position, keep your hands down. If you're okay, come up just a little bit higher and take your hands off of their support. So I'm in this like in between, again, embracing the awkwardness of the in between. Make those gentle fists, curl your fingers in towards your palms, turn your palms so that they face one another. And then holding this half lean, make like a semicircle and bring your elbows up towards the ceiling. And then release. And do that again. Bring your elbows back and pull up. And release. And bring your elbows back. And let your elbows straighten and hang. And then last time, hug your elbows back. Squeeze your elbows in gently so there's some amount of activation without being overwhelming. Option to stay, or extend your arms back behind you like yoga mudra but no belt. Take a breath and then exhale, release your hands down, full forward fold. Take a breath, let your head dangle. Anchor your feet and stand back up, mountain pose. Reach your arms up and overhead to the sky. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Good, one more big sweep up, arms up and overhead. And then you're gonna go ahead and bend your elbows again and hold back behind your head, right? No actual interwoven fingers. Your just hands are resting there like they could interweave, but they don't. Drop your ribs back so you're standing over your legs in your mountain. And then reach your arms up to the sky. Keep your elbows in the same place, just bend them and straighten them. And then do that again. Bend your elbows, elbows stay the same. Straighten your arms. Last time, bend your elbows and straighten them. Urdhva Hastasana, upward salute. And then bend forward and fold once again from your hips into Uttanasana. Forward fold. Ardha Uttanasana if you're like me and your spine is long. And then on your in breath, everyone lengthen your spine out and forward. Take that left foot back again. I'm just stepping back into my normal lunge, hands on chair or blocks. Floor if you feel easy and open in that position. A little boost sometimes is nice though. You might choose to stay here or go ahead and bend your back knee towards the mat and then straighten. And do that again. Bend your back knee and straighten. And last time, bend your back knee and straighten. Take a nice long deep breath. Good. We're going to switch sides yet again. So you push off your back foot to come forward and you step your foot back. And then little knee bends here, holding your block. Bend both knees and straighten. Bend both knees and straighten. So last time we straightened both legs. Now we're bending both legs. And last time, bend and straighten. And then step all the way forwards. Take a nice deep breath. Exhale, release. Inhale, stand fully upright. Reach to the sky and bring your hands back to your heart. Standing in your mountain pose, I'm going to turn and face you again. Go ahead and make those soft fists so you're not shoving your fingernails into your palms. And turn your palms to face forward in the same direction as your belly. And then as you breathe in, bring your forearms up and close to your shoulders. They won't actually meet. Good, and then release back down. Soft knees as you inhale and lift your arms. And exhale, uncurl. Good, and then hug your arms in. And release. And do it again, just bring your arms up. And release. Good, let go. Shake out your arms, give a wiggle. Alrighty. So now touch your own shoulders with your hands and bring your elbows forward in front of you. And then with your elbows a little lifted, bring your elbows closer together. They might touch, they might not. It doesn't actually matter. Take a breath in as you lift your elbows up high. And then exhale, take your elbows back behind you, big elbow circles. And notice if there's a lot of movement through your ribs as you trace an arc with your elbows. So are you doing this from the mobility of your thoracic spine? Or are you stabilizing through your center and just moving your arm bones in your shoulder joints? Hard to do. Go in the opposite direction. So I'm really reaching back behind me and then really pulling my elbows forward, almost like they could touch. Good, one more big circle like this, just bringing your elbows around, that joint mobility. Good. And then release your arms. Stand for a moment and just notice the difference in your joints. What do you feel right and left? And does it seem like you have more freedom? I see everyone swinging. That's great. That tells me a lot of good information, actually. All right. Big breath in, arms up and overhead. Exhale, bow forward and fold. We have one more of these little lunge in my lunge series today. So bring your left foot back. All right, so if you're feeling unsteady, holding on to blocks could be essential and you'll pretty much just stay. If you're with me and you've got a little bit of balance, go ahead and take your arms and make those soft fists again with your hands. So my hands are dangling and my body is leaning forward over my front thigh. And then you're gonna bend your elbows in towards your, so that your hands are towards your shoulders. And then just bring your arms back behind you. Try and keep your elbows in the same place now as you bring your hands in and reach your arms back. So just like that, elbows bend, hands are in, elbows stay in the same place, but they unbend. And then release your hands down and switch sides. So use that back foot to push off and lift your left foot forward, taking a breath. And then bring your right foot back carefully and mindfully. That awareness is what we cultivate in yoga. Where is my body? Where am I moving into and out of? Either stay here or lifting yourself up, you'll make soft fists and then bend your elbows. Take your elbows back and then from here you extend your arms back. Bend your elbows, hands towards shoulders. Exhale your hands back behind you. Lift your elbows towards your shoulders. Release your elbows back. Last one, elbows bend, elbows extend, hands come down, look forward and step forward. Take a nice deep breath in, bow and release. Once your hands are down on either blocks or ankles or floor, sway your hips from side to side. And then press your feet into the floor and come all the way back upright. Hands come to your heart. Good. All right, so one more of these little arm series workout things. So you're gonna go ahead and sweep your arms up and overhead. Bend your elbows as if you could hold the back of your head. Reach your arms out wide from here and then internally rotate and take your arms behind your back. So again, they're not touching. I'm holding them behind my back with my fingers reaching towards one another, but there's space between my back and my hands. And you'll notice this is actually a fair amount of work for your arms. And then sweep your arms out, externally rotate your shoulders. So my thumb is flipped back. Bring your arms up high. We're going to repeat that. Soft knees, bend your elbows, elbows reach up. Widen your arms apart. Internally rotate, bend your elbows and reach back behind you. Notice if one shoulder feels very different than the other. So I can feel like some tension in my right shoulder. Take a breath here and then bring your arms back out. Externally rotate your arms. One last time. As always, if you're tired, rest. Reach your arms up. Bend your elbows. Hold back behind your head. Widen your arms apart. Internally rotate. Keep the internal rotation, bend your elbows and reach back behind your back. And then let your arms go. Woo! Shake that one out. Give that shoulder roll. Maybe you shimmy. Maybe you're doing the opposite. But let it go. Oh, I love all the dancing that I'm seeing. Fantastic. Okay, we're going to take a wide stance on our mat. So separating your feet out. You can use blocks or no blocks, chair or no chair. My actual right leg is forward. My actual left leg is back. Reach your arms out nice and wide. So we're in star pose here. Gather your leg strength. Pull your feet towards one another. Keep that activation and press your feet apart. On your next out breath, take your hand down anywhere. So it could rest on your thigh. It could come down to your shin. I don't know if you could hear my hip pop, but it was really loud. And then press into your feet and bring yourself back upright. And then lower yourself back down. So if this is too much, stay in the pose. But if your wisdom body tells you that this is an excellent action because it's working your side core and it's increasing your stability and strength, then do it with me. Right? And your discernment lets you know, like, you know, before you do something really dumb, there's that little voice that's like, what are you doing? Like, we have to train ourselves to listen to the little voice. Good, lean over. Maybe that's just me. It could be. Activate your right glute. I don't think so. Big breath. Turn your heart up to the ceiling and take a breath here. Trikonasana, triangle pose. Nice deep breaths in and out. Nice long hold. Sometimes a long hold is juicy and sometimes it's exhausting. And then press your feet, lift yourself back upright. Stay in star pose for a moment, arms wide, heart lifts. And then rest your hands back down. Turn your feet to parallel so that you can just wiggle your feet back in. And then pause here. Once again, is there a difference between your right and left side? Can you work towards feeling that difference? I feel very lopsided. Let's do the other side. Bring your feet out wide. All right, my actual left toes turn out towards the short edge of my mat. You do the same. Take a breath in and reach your arms out wide. Establish your muscular connection in your legs. So your feet both pull in and press out. It's a co-contraction. Maintain the co-contraction and lean over. Your hand rests down wherever it rests. Good, and then we get to work like a little piston here. So you push down to lift up, and then you release your upper body, legs stay strong. Root down and rise. Exhale and float. Keep going, inhaling and up, exhaling and down. I have no idea how many of these I did on the first side. So we could just do this for the rest of class. Just kidding. We'll do a few more and then we'll hold. Someone was watching one of my videos online and they were like, I still laugh at your jokes. I was like, I'm really glad because they're really corny. Stay to your side, keep your legs engaged, turn your head and your heart. Good, you're in triangle pose. Hold the shape. Can you find more length in your vertebrae? Can you hold the stability, the muscular energy in your legs by really hugging your feet together and pressing apart at the same time? And then root through your feet and come back up to star pose. Pause here, arms reach out from your shoulders, and then let your arms go. Rotate your feet back so that you can bring your legs back together. Nice. Big breath in, arms lift, finish the dance. Exhale, hands to your heart. All right, so you might want your blocks up at the top of your mat for this one. And that could be a good thing to do to bring them around. Or perhaps you leave them out to the side and you just hold on to the floor. So take your feet out wide again, an appropriate level of wide for you. And set your blocks down underneath your shoulders if you're using them, or hold onto your mat. Good, and we're gonna bend and straighten one knee. I love this so much. So you're gonna go ahead and bend your left knee, your right leg stays straight, and then switch. Unbend your left knee, bend your right knee. And again, I'm not mirroring. And then at your own pace, go back and forth. So those are little Skandasana preps. Your feet stay strongly connected to your mat, like we did in the very beginning where your heel was pressing into the mat. As you bend and straighten one knee, your foot is still really rooting down into the mat. Both feet are, but especially the extended leg side, which can go a little into Shavasana. Good, pause in the middle. Keep your feet wide, keep pressing your big toe mound down and your baby toe mound down. So we've got some options here again. You might just take your hands to your hips with your body leaning far forward, and a little knee bend could help facilitate that action. If you feel stable and strong, bring your arms out to the side. I know that's not loaded at all, right? And then go ahead, and that was kind of a joke. And then go ahead and bring your arms in. My right arm crosses in front of my left. And then fly your arms out wide. And then do it again. Left arm over right. And fly your arms out wide. Right arm over left. Arms extend out from your armpits. Left arm over right. Extend your arms out wide. One more time each side. Take a break when you need to. Again, that's wise. Excellent. Set your hands back down to your blocks or mat. Squiggle wiggle your feet back to forward fold. Bend your knees as appropriate. Nice deep breath here. Soften and release. Find spinal length as you pranam. You lift your heart in Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. Exhale, full forward fold, Uttanasana. 2 more times. Inhale, extension. Exhale and soften. Last time. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, release. Plant through your feet. Come all the way upright. Arms float up. Hands rest at your heart. Okay, as per usual, I have like a 3-hour workshop planned. So we're gonna do one more thing and then take it back down to the floor. So washing machine, this is just a loosening up action. So as you're standing on your mat, separate your feet almost as wide as your mat. So go a little wider than normal Tadasana. And then let your arms swing from side to side. And for this first variation, keep your hips facing forward. So I'm trying to stabilize through my hips and just rotate my upper body. Good. And then we're going to take this a little bit more. You could stay here. This would be delightful. Or one foot is going to pivot as you twist to the opposite side. So as I lift my right, I let my hips go and twist left. As I twist to the left, as I twist, and I'm reversing it now, but my other heel lifts. And then go back and forth like that with your hips going from side to side. Twists and right and left get me every time. So here I go, back and forth with a little extra. And if it's too much, listen to your wise Buddhi self and don't do that. Good. I call this washing machine because it reminds me of like the old time agitators. I know washing machines aren't like this anymore. Come back to center. Woo, let everything go. Take a second, pause. Notice if you feel buzzy or tingly, if the energy feels like it's riding through you, or did you maintain that calm, easy self? Release and open your eyes if they closed. Come on down to the floor. So come back to your seat. All right. Bend your right knee, extend your left leg out. So your right foot might have to go way out to the side to just accommodate your body and your hips. I'm a little asymmetric. Notice that. And if you're very asymmetric, put a blanket underneath both cheeks, right? Both lower cheeks. And then you're going to go ahead and take a twist towards the right. So my right hand's behind me, my left arm wraps, and I am mirroring for this one again. So it doesn't have to be the deepest twist ever. I'm not asking you to crank yourself around. All I'm asking for is a little spinal rotation. And then reach your arm out and swing wide. And then bring your arm back around. And keep going with breath. Again, like you're painting walls. Just using that hand to open and close. 2 more times. Open and release back to center. Last time. Open and close. Good. Extend your right leg out and bend your left knee. Find the appropriate width for your hips. And I like at least a couple inches between foot and thigh, and then turn towards your left. So use your left hand back behind your back. Take your right arm up and then untwist and retwist. And just go back and forth like that. So this is Marichyasana variation, one of the sage twists. And we're just using it as another core opportunity. Good. Last time, taking the rotation and release. All right, stretch both of your legs out. Again, blanket underneath your hips or towel could be super useful. Take a little breath in here and then moving from your hips, fold forward. Potentially your knees are bent just like they are in forward fold, or if you're more mobile, your legs may be extended. Again, appropriate movement for your body. Taking into consideration the feedback you get from your body. I think half of our work is just to attune our inner listening. That might be all of our work, actually. Good. Sit back upright. And from this position, take that easy head circle again. So think about lifting up and over as you take your head back. And just notice if it feels any easier. If you notice less of the snap, crackle, and pop through your ligaments. Then go in the opposite direction. Again, nice, easy head circle all the way around. Good. Come onto your backs. Alrighty. So once you've made your way onto your back, hold your head with your hands this time. So I'm actually like holding the back of my head, and you can be resting your head on something. And then lift your head up with your hands and just gently pull your head to traction your neck. And then release your head back down. And with your knees bent, pick up your hips, scoop your tailbone up towards your knees, and set your sacrum back down. And then extend your legs out from there. Your palms may face up towards the ceiling, or maybe you're internally rotating your forearms and your hands rest on your floor. And then once you've found your position in Shavasana, your eyes settle, your eyelids are heavy. And you attune yourself back to your breath. Notice again the easiness, the softness, the stickiness. What happens when you breathe? And pay attention to your mind. What happens when you get quiet? Does your inner voice speak to you? Is it kind? Is it distracting? If your attention just took a little vacation, bring your awareness back into your body. Notice your breath as you reach all the way down through your toes and extend your legs out long. Good. Lengthen your arms and become aware of your fingers as they begin to move. And then bend up your knees. Roll yourself to your side. Use that strength and resiliency to lift yourself back up. Hands come to heart center. We honor this practice, this work, this ability to move both from our ego self, but also from our inner wisdom, our ability to discern that which is appropriate and truthful and honest, and that which isn't. Let's sing Om together. Take a nice deep full breath in. Om. hello to each of you.